The January morning had dawned gray and cold over London, a typical start to the year that offered little hint of the tempest about to engulf one of the world's most famous families. Inside the secure walls of Windsor Castle, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, was beginning her day. The world knew her as the picture of poise and radiant health, the woman who, alongside her husband Prince William, represented the future of the British monarchy. Her days were a relentless blur of official engagements, school runs, and public appearances, all conducted under the unblinking gaze of a global press corps. But in the quiet of her private apartment, a persistent discomfort had taken root. A nagging ailment she had initially dismissed as the price of a busy lifestyle. The decision to undergo a planned abdominal surgery had not been made lightly. It was, Kensington Palace would later announce, a non-cancerous condition discovered during a routine health screening. To the public, it was a vague and carefully worded statement designed to grant the princess privacy. Behind the palace walls, however, it signaled the beginning of a meticulously orchestrated operation. Catherine's recovery was to be a private matter, a period of calm away from the flashbulbs. The Royal Protection Detail, already operating at a heightened state of vigilance, tightened its perimeter around the family's residence. The Princess of Wales was to be allowed to heal without the intrusion of the outside world. For several weeks, the plan worked. The official silence was met with initial understanding. But as the weeks stretched on, the vacuum of information began to fill with speculation. Social media, a beast that demanded constant feeding, grew restless. Where was Catherine? Why had she not been seen? The palace's repeated assurances that she was recovering well began to sound, to the most skeptical ears, like a broken record. The whispers started, first as a trickle of concern, then as a torrent of conspiracy. The internet buzzed with theories ranging from the mundane to the bizarre, a marital crisis, a cosmetic surgery recovery gone wrong, or something far more sinister. It was into this fevered atmosphere that a routine logistical event was about to inject a dose of high-stakes drama. A delivery was scheduled for the Wales family residence. Sources would later describe it as a personal package, sent directly to Catherine from a close, trusted contact. It was not an official royal dispatch, nor a piece of fan mail screened by secretaries. It was a private parcel, marked with a return address that held significance for the princess. The exact contents of the package would become a matter of intense and ultimately unresolved speculation. What mattered was the protocol that surrounded its arrival. The Royal Protection Officers, whose job is to assess threat levels with a forensic attention to detail, intercepted the package before it could reach its intended recipient. This was standard procedure. In a world where the unlikeliest objects can be vessels for harm, every item entering the royal bubble is subjected to scrutiny. The package was taken to a secure off-site location away from the residence for a full security sweep. This process, known as a controlled delivery assessment, involved the use of sophisticated scanning technology designed to detect explosives, chemical agents, or other anomalies invisible to the human eye. The officer overseeing the scan watched the monitor as the machine did its work. The initial pass was clear of any immediate threat. No wires, no dense masses indicative of a bomb. But the scanner picked up something else, something its operator hadn't been trained to look for. The image on the screen showed the outline of the package's contents, but it was blurred, distorted by an interaction with the packaging material. The anomaly wasn't a threat in the conventional sense, but it was enough to trigger a higher level of alert. The package was flagged. It was deemed too sensitive to simply pass through and too ambiguous to destroy. A decision was made at a level few could even imagine. The delivery was blocked. It would not be handed to the princess or her staff. It was held in a secure evidence locker, its presence logged and its existence now known to a select handful of people within the royal household and the security services. For the officer who had flagged it, the incident was closed. For the story that was about to unfold, it was only the beginning. The blocking of the package, a minor bureaucratic event in the grand scheme of royal security, became a data point, and like all data points in an intelligence network, it was filed away. But the ripples from this single block delivery began to spread outwards, intersecting with the already churning waters of public speculation. The timing was catastrophic. The blocked package, and the ambiguous scan that caused its seizure, occurred just as the Kensington Palace communications machine was preparing to launch a counter-offensive against the swirling rumors of the princess's whereabouts. The palace decided on a classic tactic: release a new heartwarming image of the princess. On a Sunday in March, the official social media accounts of the Prince and Princess of Wales posted a photograph of Catherine, smiling serenely, surrounded by her 3 children, George, Charlotte, and Louis. The image was meant to be a balm, a visual proof of life and wellness. It was credited to Prince William, a detail intended to add a layer of domestic authenticity. For a few hours, it worked. The press picked it up, the public cooed over the healthy-looking family, and the conspiracy theorists seemed momentarily silenced. Then, the digital forensics began. The eagle-eyed amateur sleuths of the internet, armed with nothing but Zoom tools and a deep suspicion of authority, began to pick the image apart. They pointed out a misaligned zipper on Catherine's hoodie. They noticed that Princess Charlotte's sleeve didn't quite line up properly. They saw a strange blurring around Prince Louis's hand. Within hours, the narrative had flipped entirely. The image wasn't a bomb, it was the proof they had been waiting for. The Catespiracies, as they were derisively called, exploded with renewed vigor. The largest news agencies in the world, including the Associated Press and Reuters, issued a rare kill notice for the photograph, urging outlets to remove it from their archives due to concerns over manipulation. Kensington Palace was plunged into a crisis. A statement was hastily issued, purportedly from Catherine herself, admitting to an amateur experiment with photo editing. "Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing," the statement read, a weak explanation that satisfied almost no one. The damage was done. The palace had tried to provide proof of life, and instead they had provided proof of subterfuge. It was in this context of shattered trust that the story of the blocked delivery began to circulate in the upper echelons of the press and the security establishment. The two events, seemingly unrelated, began to merge in the minds of those piecing together the puzzle. The palace had lied, or at least had been economical with the truth, about the photograph. Why? And why was a private delivery to the princess intercepted and blocked at the exact time she was supposedly convalescing at home? Theories, far more sophisticated than the internet memes, began to take shape in the whispered conversations of intelligence analysts and royal correspondents. What if the something unsettling on the scan wasn't a physical object at all? What if the technology, designed to see through packaging, had inadvertently revealed something else? Some speculated about advanced surveillance devices, smaller than a pinhead, that could be concealed in personal items. Had someone tried to breach the royal household's security not with a bomb, but with a bug? The blocked delivery suddenly took on a darker, more espionage-tinged hue. Others wondered if the scan had revealed a medical component. Could the package have contained medication, supplements, or medical equipment that was not what it seemed? The official line was that Catherine was recovering from abdominal surgery. The blocking of a personal medical delivery would be a gross invasion of privacy, but one justified by security protocol. If the scan had revealed something unusual, perhaps a substance that didn't match the manifest, or a device that looked like medical equipment but had electronic components, it would explain the heavy-handed seizure. The most unsettling theory, and the one that refused to die despite a lack of evidence, was that the scan had revealed something about the contents that pointed to the princess's true condition. Had a trusted friend, Unable to communicate through official channels, I tried to send her something that bypassed the palace's media management. A get-well gift that was, in reality, a cry for help. The blocking of the delivery meant that whatever message was intended for Catherine, she never received it. The security apparatus, designed to protect her, had also isolated her, cutting off a potential line of communication to the outside world. For the Princess of Wales, trapped in a bubble of royal protocol and medical privacy, the incident was likely just another frustrating element of her recovery. But for the public, who had been fed a manipulated image and a thin story, the blocked delivery became a symbol of everything that was wrong. It represented the wall of secrecy that surrounded her. It suggested that there were forces at play, unseen and unaccountable, that were controlling the narrative. And the scan that uncovered something unsettling became a metaphor for the entire situation. A glimpse behind the curtain that revealed a truth too complex or too disturbing to be shared. Weeks later, when Catherine finally appeared in public, walking slowly alongside her family at a farm shop near Windsor, the relief was palpable. But it was not absolute. The questions lingered. The video of the outing, taken by a member of the public, was analyzed frame by frame. Was that really her? Was the walk too slow? Did she look sad? The woman who had once moved through crowds with effortless grace was now a subject of forensic examination. Her every move a data point to be weighed against the conspiracy. The story of the Royal Protection Team and the blocked delivery faded from the front pages, replaced by other news, other crises. But within the intelligence community, it remained a case study in the complexities of modern security. The scan had indeed uncovered something unsettling. It had uncovered the fragility of trust. It had shown how a routine procedure designed for physical safety could trigger a cascade of psychological and public relations fallout. The officers who blocked that delivery did their jobs exactly as they were trained. They protected the princess from a potential threat. But in doing so, they became unwitting participants in a drama that would define her year, a drama that raised a question the scanners could never answer. In a world of manipulated images and blocked communications, what is the real truth? And how will we ever know it?